How do you deal with a running injury? This has possibly been the worst summer in my running career. In this video, I'm going to go through and tell you how I coped with the running injury, what I did to work my way through it, not only to physically get better, but the mindset I had to change and what I had to do mentally to get through this horrible summer. Hi, I'm Tony James, welcome along. In this video, we are going to discuss my worst summer ever of running. In the, 5 years I've been running, I have never felt this low, this far down with my running. It's been awful. I have been lethargic, I have lacked motivation, and I've just not wanted to run. Dealing with the physical problem, the actual injury, dealing with that is one thing, but the mindset, getting over what you're thinking and what your brain is saying to you, what your mental state is, because as a runner, we just want to run. We enjoy running. The running is our space. It's our mental solitude. It's what we do to decompress, to feel better, to lift ourselves up. So what do when you can't do that one thing that motivates you, that moves you? Well, let's give you the background. The summer, absolutely pants. As you know, I ran the Boston Marathon, which was fantastic, loved it, brilliant experience. And if you haven't seen the video, you can go and see it here. Just go and click the link that's above me. But I went and ran that and came back, and basically I did what a lot of us do, and we shouldn't do this. I got back on the training too quickly. If you look at the likes of Eliud Kipchoge and the other elite athletes, when they've run a marathon, they don't generally run at all, nothing, no running whatsoever, for about 2 weeks afterwards. But we don't, do we? We're stupid animals. We'll go and run a marathon, and then next day we'll do a recovery run, and then we enjoyed that so much we'll go out and do another run, and then before we know it, we're running every day after we've run a marathon. Now, I know you're going to say you suffer from DOMS and what have you, and yes, I understand that, but it's a metaphor. We go back and we get on it too quickly, and that's what I did. I wanted to do another challenge, so I think I gave it 2 weeks after Boston, but I'd been running in that 2 weeks, and then I started to push again, and that pushing is what created the injury. Now, most running injuries, there's two types of injuries, aren't there, really? There's injuries that we pick up during running, sprains, tears, that type of thing, and then there's other injuries like slips, trips and falls, which we can't do anything about. Accidents do happen, so we're not talking about slips, trips and falls. Let's talk about the others. We're training too hard, we're overtraining, we're pushing too hard. That's what causes the problems. And in my instance, I got back on it too quickly, and due to the amount of work I started to do and how heavy I was pushing myself, my pelvic bones, my pelvis, the two bones in the pelvis, misaligned. They moved. One of them moved. And because of that, your hamstrings connect to your pelvis, and because the pelvis wasn't sitting right, the hamstrings weren't firing properly, so the hamstrings were tiring quite quickly because they weren't working properly. So not only have I got the injury of the dislocated, well, it's not dislocated, not only have I got the problem of the slipped pelvis, but it's created this problem with really bad DOMS in the hamstrings. So I had two areas to work at, and basically I was limping. I went out and did a park run, and I only ran quarter of a mile on that park run. The pain was just too much and just caved in, and that was the moment. This is a problem. So technically, people say you've got a running injury if you miss 3 sessions. So if you miss 3 runs or 3 track sessions, then that's classed as a running injury. So it was that park run that really said to me, yeah, there's a problem here. So what I did was I went and saw my physio. Time for medical advice. Went and saw my physio. He went, yeah, your pelvis has moved again. So he laid me on the side, put his knee in my back and crunched it back into place. You could hear the crack as it went back. Sorry to be so graphic. You could hear it go back into place. And that is simply that fixed the pelvis problem. However, it does take a while for the hamstrings to come back into play. So we had a lot of exercises to do to stretch out the hamstrings whilst recovering. And at that point, I think it was June this year, I actually stopped running for a couple of weeks, and that is so depressing as a runner, not being able to get out and run. And because I wasn't running, the mental state was going down, and I just couldn't find the motivation to run, couldn't find the motivation to record videos. Didn't fall out of love with running, just found it really difficult to get motivated again. I'll show you this from Strava. If you've got the page Strava, you'll be able to see this, and it's my fitness level. You can see how high it was when I ran the Boston Marathon. And then as we got to June, as the injury kicked in and the mental side started to slip, you can see the fitness level just dropped between June and July. Less than half it was for Boston, which was so bad mentally for me. Even the wife said my mood had changed. So to try and keep motivated somehow, I was out doing a lot of walking. By the way, if you want to see all the stuff I've done this summer, if you check out my Strava, everything is on there, everything in the raw. Don't change anything. You can just go and follow me. Just go and follow strava.com/athletes/Tony James. Click follow you back. But they're all on there. So the motivation was gone, rock bottom. But luckily, we being part of a running club, we have a couple of competitions going on. We have the club championship, and we've also got the interclub where we're against 6 other running clubs in the local area. So these club runs were still on, even though I was at the lowest fitness and not in pain, but some residual ache, shall we say, from the problems. I went out and I did these races, thoroughly enjoyed them, but it wasn't my best performance. So again, you're at that low point because it's not as good as you want it to be. But we went out and did them. And then again, if you look at the Strava track here, as you can see from August, the injury had started to dissipate. As I said, there was some residual ache there, and there still is now at the end of September. But you can see it wasn't causing a big issue as it was, because from August time, the fitness level is starting to go up. I'm starting to get faster on the runs. It was coming naturally. I wasn't forcing it. I was just naturally, when you're out doing a slow run, I was going from 9.5 minute pace, and it was slowly creeping back up to 9 minutes, 8:45, 8:30, to a point where doing things like park run, I could hold a 7 minute pace, and I've actually got my park run time back down to 21 minutes 7 seconds, which I'm absolutely over the moon with, because during the worst part of the season I was running 30-minute park runs. So you can see that improvement. And also, once I started running again, the mental side of it started to improve, started to get more creative, out and enjoying myself more, and the videos started again. So yeah, basically what I'm trying to say, it has been the worst bloody summer ever for running for me, but I've picked myself up, went and got medical attention for the problem, which you should do. As I say, I'm not talking about what you should do in an emergency. That's a totally different aspect of what your runner's first aid should be, and your ice, your rest, ice, compression, elevation, that's totally different. Once you got over that, what do you do? This is what I'm trying to get across in this video. So basically, to sum up, it's been rubbish, but what happens if you do get that injury is you are going to go down, but you've got to do as much as you can to stop yourself getting too low, and just work on what you need to do. Go out and walk, do your exercises, do everything you can apart from actually running, to try and keep yourself motivated, keep yourself fit, and keep yourself in the game. My fitness level has got back up. It's not at the same height it was before Boston, but we're up there and we're feeling match fit. 1:48 in the Great North Run recently, which I was happy with, because it was 22, 24 degrees that day, so it was a hot day, so I was actually running slower than I could have. So I hope listening to my struggles helps you if you do get in that situation. I just thought I'd bring you up to date on what it's been like for the summer. I've been down, I've worked hard, I've been out running, and I think I've benefited from more social running than normal, because I am a lone wolf. I do like to go out and do my own stuff and go run on my own, but I think being part of the running club this summer and taking part in those activities, the interclub and the championship, has helped doing that social run. And I've also been able to target myself against other runners. I know who generally runs similar to me, similar times, similar paces. You know where you are in the pecking order at a club, shall we say. You know who you're going to finish behind. You know who's going to finish behind you. And because of that injury, the guys who are normally behind me were in front of me. So that's my motivation. That's my benchmarking. So you can see that they normally finish behind me, but my running's not very good at the moment, so I'm behind them. So what do I need to do to get back to where I should be? And that's your target. You work against it, you start chipping off a little bit at a time, and before you know it, that person who's normally behind you but has been in front of you is suddenly behind you again. So yeah, benefit from that social aspect, talking to people, competing against them in a non-competitive way, like parkrun, has really helped get me through this low point. So if you get a running injury, you are going to be down. Think about it, work your way out, look after your mental health. So I hope listening to me whinge for about 10 minutes has helped you in some aspect of your running. Thanks very much. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button below, turn on the bell notification so you find out every time I upload new running videos. And if you want to help me, if you want to help build this channel and be part of a growing community, please consider becoming a member, where you get early access to videos. We'll have our very own sneaky private one-to-ones and web chats, etc. Just click the join button above and you can find out about those pesky perks that you will get for helping out by becoming part of the crew. Thank you. We'll see you all again soon, and if you want to see how I did in the Great North Run this summer, you can click the link on the video above now.